Parshas Chayei. I'm going to say a short vart to start. The reason why I'm going to say it's short is because I feel bad. I said this vart elsewhere, and I said this over in Kailo. It says over in Kailo, and you never know. Maybe there's one person that might have heard it, and then he just repeats everything he says. I'm never listening, So, but it's one short idea. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to say it over Shabbos. Just want to say it very, very short. Sari Imenu died. That wasn't the Chiddush. I think we all knew that part. What was she niftaris from? That part we all know. Rashi says that she heard in Nispaser that Yitzchak was shechted and her parcha nishmasa. We could ask a kasha. We could ask a question. Sari Imenu, the imahois. Ein lecha maimin. There's no greater person that believes in Hashem. Rashi speaks of the miracles in her house. We all know 3 nisim in the house of Sari Imenu. The bread was always fresh. The candles lit week to week. The Shechina was always there. And she couldn't handle bad news? I don't understand. Says the Heilige Ish Koide. No. Sorry. Let me. Good. So I feel bad. You say something short, and then you lose the whole flavor. So good.
When she laughed.
So okay. So we'll say it a little bit more. Say a little more. Avada. Of course, we never judge the imahis, and of course, we're talking about the child that she waited her whole life for. And we're talking about something that is not in this world, 100%. But says the Ish Kodesh, we see a yisoid, an idea that we all could take away from this. Often, when one is going through a challenge, there are numerous things that are difficult for him. There's the challenge, there's the rest of the world, and then there's something else that often bothers us about a challenge. And you know what it is? It's the fact that we're not dealing with the challenge well. And we eat ourselves up saying, I don't understand. I'm a maimin. I daven. I learn. I listen to the bitachon shir. I learn. I try. So why am I so upset? Why can I not handle it? Why am I in so much pain? And the pain that we're in from being in pain is sometimes greater than the pain itself. Says the Heilige Ish Kodesh, she's talking to the Hasidim in the Warsaw Ghetto, 1939, Parshas Chayei, although I don't know if that's where he says it. He says, you know what you see from here? We're humans, and we're allowed to be in pain. Sari Imenu was in pain to the point that she died from her pain. Obviously, you're allowed to be in pain. It's the next step that we have to work on. Sari Imenu was never zeicha to the next step because the entire events, which is what everyone was talking about, just sent her into shock that she wasn't able to even get to the next step. But when we are zeicha to get to the next step, that's the point of we work on emunah, we work on bitachon. But the first thing is sometimes to tell ourselves we're allowed to hurt, we're allowed to be in pain, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves we're even allowed to cry. Yes, crying is not a show of weakness. It's a famous quote, I don't remember who said it. Crying is a show of strength. You let it out, and then you move on and you get bigger from it. So we learn from Sari Imenu lesson number 1, that, and we elaborated on it. Lesson number 1 is that you're allowed to be in pain. It's just an idea that we have to just put into our minds because we should never beat ourselves up because we're in pain. The pain itself is enough. The nisayin itself is enough. The matziv is enough. We don't need to now eat ourselves up for eating ourselves up. Remember Sari Imenu. But let's move on to a little bit of a happier note. Let's move on to Chesed. The topic of the day. The topic of the day. Why is it the topic of the day? No. Why is Chesed the topic of the day? Oilim Chesed Yibana. And because we just raised a lot of money for the shul, and Baruch Hashem, anyone that partook in an incredible Chesed. And maybe we're going to give a little bit of a, you'll see. Rivka, Eliezer, camels. Rivka is performing a test on her. Eliezer is testing Rivka. Is she the one? Is she the chosen one? There are 2 things that Eliezer has to find out. Number 1, is she a balas chesed? Number 2, Yitzchak Avinu gave strict instructions that she be from within the mishpacha. That she can't be some random person with no yichus. So let me ask you a question. I task you with 2 details. Number 1, this person has to be a certain family person. Number 2, they need to have quality traits. So which should he deal with first? Number one, Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Let's do the genealogical, I said that word wrong, I tried. Let's do the yichus, we'll just do Jewish. Let's do the background check. And then, if it works, now we'll try to test your chesed. He sits there and he puts her through this whole chesed ordeal. And she won. She's sitting there and she's feeding the camels and the water, right? Back and forth and back and forth. And people have done tests and studies to figure out the amount of water that she personally carried. Incredible. But can you imagine if after the whole thing, he says, so what's your name? And she says, she's an Einiklich from whatever, Yishmael. And he says, oh, Kol Tov, have a great day. Why?
Question that somebody with that meter.
Good. So number one is, no, you're right in our perspective. I agree with you. But what was in Eliezer's mind? Meaning you're playing the Ruach HaKodesh card.
Like they family say, when you know, you know.
Yeah, good. That's the Haimisha card. Good.
Did Eliezer even have a chance to react? Or was it that that's what he did?
Okay, good. I like everyone's answers. I really do. So I didn't see. Someone gave me.
But it's not so specific.
Yeah.
When you see it,
Then it has to be. No, you're all right, and I really appreciate. No, but this is the Ganti Yima. You say, if you say Kash Lamaisa, let's just skip Rashis and move on. So someone showed me from one of the Sorotskins, I don't know which one, a beautiful pshat, a mamish, a beautiful pshat. What would happen if he says, what's your name? He finds out her name. She finds out who he is. Now he says, okay, can you give my camels to drink? Why is she now going to give the camels to drink? Because this guy, you know who he is? I'm going to give it to him because I know who he is and he knows who I am. And now why am I doing this chesed? Am I doing this chesed because I'm doing a chesed? For example, let's play this out in real life. If someone calls you up, you have no clue who you are, you have no clue why they're collecting, you have no clue anything, and they ask you for money. If you give it to them, that's a real chesed. Because you have no reason to give. They don't know you and they never even know you. And you say even better, no problem. I'm leaving cash outside my door. Crazy. Wild. And that's the highest form of chesed we know is to give someone without them knowing. So the plug is maybe people are just waiting. They're trying to figure out ways to give to the shul without anyone knowing about it. So one day I'm going to open up my mailbox and there's just going to be cash. And we're going to open our in Kodesh and there's going to be cash. And we're going to open the fridge and people are just going to stuff in hundreds, and that way we're going to buy a building. If that doesn't work, then I guess we go back to trying to ask everyone for a few dollars, and we do the normal route. So I heard a beautiful story today that brings out this point. So everyone understand the point. The point's a beautiful point. How do we do chesed? So I want to talk a few ideas about chesed, some very basic ideas. First idea, someone showed me a story from Rav Joey Haber. He's incredible. Sephardi guy, speaks beautiful. First of all, thinking of adopting a Sephardi accent. I hope the Chaver doesn't mind. Everything sounds better. It's either Sephardi or like South African. They also sound very cool. But either way, for now, you'll have to deal with a good old-fashioned American. So Joey Haber said the following story, and the reason why it was beautiful I'll just tell you the story. It was just beautiful because it was within the dedication of the shir. He was saying about the person this story. It's like it wasn't even part of the shir. He was saying the glasses that he's wearing, he bought in a certain glasses store. Okay, beautiful. He says he remembers when he went into the store and he was telling about the person. He went into the store and he's like, I'm not good at these things. And I went in and I couldn't choose this frame or that frame or this or that. And then I went back a second time. The second time the owner tells me, oh, you need these lenses, progressive lenses. He's like, oh, yeah. And then the third time he goes back and he says, oh, and you need this. And he's realizing that each time he's going, like the bill is going up and he can't make up his mind. He said it's after like 6 times he finally chooses his glasses and he's going to pick up his glasses. Okay. Shows up to the store and glasses are ready. Gavaldi takes them, tries them on. Beautiful. So new, what do they cost? Guy says $1,200. He's like, hey, he was waiting. He knew it was going to be expensive. Takes out his credit card and hands it to the guy. Guy says, no, for you, Rabbi, it's free. He said he then realized the store owner was sitting there adding in all the extras so that he could give him a bigger chesed. If he would have told him in the beginning, Rabbi, it's free for you, choose whatever you want, what would he have done? He would have chosen epis, whatever. Because that's called, when you do a chesed sometimes, you have to put yourself in their shoes and say, how can I help them? Not help me. We do chesedim helping me. How can I help me? Now it's one level, but that's incredible if you think about it. He had no way of knowing. He's sitting there doing, and then the slate is clean. The bill is on us. That's a real chesed. Sometimes we see from Eliezer, the answer is don't know who you're doing it for. That's a very high level, very, very high level. But also realize who you're doing it for and realize why you're doing it. Are you doing it for the right reasons? Doing it for the wrong reasons? And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, okay. But then at least do more and more and more for the... I'm not looking for glasses. That's not why I'm wearing lenses. Baruch Hashem. No. I have glasses. Please. It's not why. He purposely put on the lens. No, we're good. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I want to add on one more detail of chesed, which really is a combination of something you learn out from Avram Avinu, something that, but when you talk about chesed, it's remiss if you don't add this point. It's a lesson. I'm going to tell you the whole story. I heard this from a friend of mine, B'Shem his Rebbe, and then I saw his Rebbe act this out in real life, and it made such an impression. It's someone that everyone in this room knows, I think. You definitely know the name, and hopefully it'll mean a little bit more. Friend of mine, him, you don't need to know his name. I'll give him a shout out. He's the guy who started the Hachseik program. His name is Rebbe Metz, a very close friend of mine. I heard one time he used to give, when he was in, I don't remember what yeshiva was in. I think he was in the dorm counselor in Waterbury. He gave a vad. So he said over, he one time sent me this, and I one time listened. He sent me many of them, and I didn't listen. This one I listened. And he was saying over from his Rebbe, Rav Daniel Kalish, the following lesson in chesed. How do you do a chesed? Let's play it out. Someone comes into the shir over here. I say, hey, Menachem, how you doing? Menachem, you want a drink? What does Menachem say? I'm good. Okay, so what do I say? Menachem's good. He doesn't want a drink. Is Menachem really good? I know I'm using your name. It's not nice. Is Menachem really good? Of course not. Who doesn't want a drink?
First of all, Menachem would never say no to a drink.
No, I meant like seltzer. The answer is when you offer something to someone, their natural instinct is to say no. Someone comes to your door. So, you hear all the stories. The guy comes collecting. You don't just give him $1. If you can't give more, you could give more. Gavaldik, what do? You offer him something good. You've read the storybooks. Here's my moment to shine. What do you do? Can I give you something to drink? No, I'm good. Yes, he's good. I'd love to give him something to drink. No. What do? You go and you give him something to drink. So now I'll tell you the story that I witnessed with my own eyes in Rav Daniel Kalish's house. He said it over. Then I happened to have been in his house from Lava Malka, a whole long story. And we're sitting there around the table, and in walks a Talmud. No clue what his name was. We'll call him Menachem. Menachem's on the chopping block tonight. Menachem walks in. Good tvach, Menachem. How you doing? Gavaldik Rebbe, what's going on? Baruch Hashem, come, join us. Okay, sure. And Menachem comes sit down at the table, and Rav Daniel Kirch says, Menachem, can I give you something to eat? Rebbe, I'm good. I just came off from pizza. I'm good. Okay. He continues talking. He says, pass the bagels. Pass the platter of bagels. Menachem, which bagel do you want? Rebbe, I told you I'm good. No. Okay, sesame or plain? Rebbe, I told you I'm good. Okay, I guess it'll be plain. Takes the plain bagel and he starts cutting it open. So Menachem, what do you want on your bagel? Rebbe, I told you I'm good. Okay, pass the tuna, pass the cream cheese. Menachem, which one do you want? Rebbe, I told you I'm fine. Okay, you eat tuna? No, Rebbe, I don't eat tuna. Gavaldik, okay, good. Puts the cream cheese, puts it down, pass the salad. Rebbe, I'm good. He makes the ganze plate and he gives it to him. Of course, the kid went and washed and ate. Now, do I know he was lactose intolerant and he was throwing up for the night? No, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, how do we do a chesed? Do we do a chesed the way a chesed is supposed to be done? Do we just offer something to someone hoping maybe they won't agree? Or do we actually give it to them? When we're reading the Parshas of Chesed, we're learning from Rivka, so we learn how deep the Chesed goes. We see that Eliezer didn't even want to, I'm messing up all my names. Eliezer didn't even want to ask her name because he wanted it to be real, a real Chesed you're doing for a person with nothing you're going to get in return. That's lesson number 1 of the night. I want to give one more short vart. One more short vart is a very famous Mishnah. Very famous Mishnah. We have Ephraim, the whole beginning of the parsha. We have Ephraim. Beni Beincha Mahi. What's $400? It's $4 million. The whole 9 yards. What's going on over there? So it's very famous Mishnah saying. We all know this is Amar Ma'at Vasei Arbe. You talk a little and you do a lot, and don't do like Ephraim, which is you talk a lot and you do a little. So the Rambam, when he discusses this, says as follows. Sadikim oimrim ma'at v'asei harbe. Ki Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu says, let me give you a little bit of bread to eat, a little bit of chama, of a chalav, ben bakar, and then what does he do? Actually, that's what he gives them. He goes and he gives them the whole meal. Rishayim oimrim harbe, and they don't even do a little bit. So First of all, there's a fascinating Sfas Emes, just very, very quickly. He says that Emar Ma'at Vasei Harbei. He says that's Torah. When you're Emar Ma'at, when you learn a little bit of Torah, it requires you to be Asei Harbei, to do a lot. Meaning, don't just say, "Oh, I learned a little bit. I'm Yetz Zayin. I'm finished." No, you're a person that learned a little bit of Torah. You learned the Mishnah, you learned 10 minutes, you're one that has to be Asei Harbei. Do a lot. Because you were Emar Ma'at, a little bit of a different look on things. David Feinstein famously used to say, and I think it's Yisrael Slanter says it, he says, every time you learn, you have to become a better person. And if you didn't become a better person after you learned, it means you didn't learn. Powerful line. Go back to the Gemara, learn again, because that means, I'll say to my wording, means you were spacing out and you weren't really whatever. If you were really learning, when you get up and it wasn't bullshit and you were this and you were that, then you walk up a different person. When, you sat through the shir, and again, let's just preface.
I think the Rav mentioned from Shimshon Pincus, if you took that moment to go into the closet to daven that mincha while you're in the middle of something, then you think like, oh, it's a shvacha mincha, it's nothing but...
That means, very good. That means you are 100%. I'm just going to put it back into learning because sometimes we have to also realize that even just doing nothing is worthwhile. We're going to the next step. Sometimes we have to also say, which we spoke a little bit about last week, we said over from the Ish Kodesh, that the words themselves are worth a lot. Sometimes you say, my brain's not there. Why go to the shir? I'm not going to listen anyways. And guess what? The rabbi just said, if you don't become a different person, it's worthless. Finish. I'm not coming. That's called the Yetzer Hara talking to you. At that point, it's the avodah is to get off that couch and at least just try to come. And the trying to come itself is worth worlds. We said over in the Ish Kodesh last week, that's called a Maisa without a lave. And then we have the Akedah, the lave without the Maisa, and the two complement each other, which is a fascinating idea. And of course, we aim for a lave with the Maisa with the lave. But at least sometimes you got to, don't sell yourself short, do something. But we'll end with the words of Ramosha Feinstein. Ramosha says the Rambam is extreme. The Rambam is extreme. That's not Ramosha Feinstein. There's Ramosha Feinstein. He says the Rambam is extreme. He says Sadiqim, Rishayim. Slicha, Ramosha. Slicha, Rambam. What about all of us? Sadiqim, say a little bit and do a lot. Rishayim, say a lot and do a little bit. What about the rest of the world in between? Asks Ramosha Feinstein Akasha on the Rambam. I don't understand. What about everyone else? Says Ramosha, no, very simple. There is no one in between. You're either a tzaddik or the Rasha. 1 second, something's funny here. We have to think about this. Emar ma'at asei harbei. Emar harbei asei not even ma'at. You talk a little, you do a lot, you're a tzaddik. You talk a lot, you don't even do a little bit. So 1 second. Talking is not the problem, right? Because even the tzaddikim talk a little bit, right? Which is interesting if you think about it. Why? Why does tzaddikim talk? Just do. Says Ramosha, we see that we're human beings and we need to talk about it also. If you just get up one day and say, I'm going to finish Shas. No, you won't. You just won't. Well, where, what, how, when? You have a plan, you have a chavrusa, you have a commitment, you have something. If you say, Emar ma'at, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to get a chavrusa. I'm going to learn how to learn Gemara. Really? When, where, how, what, and when? How many people say, when my kids grow up, I want to be able to learn Gemara with them. Okay, and what are you doing about it? I bought an article on the shelf. It's beautiful, wonderful. But now what are you doing practically? You have to be Emar ma'at, says Ramosha. If you're not Emar ma'at, it's not going to work. The problem is when you fall into the world of Ephraim, when you're living in a world of fakeness, says Ramosha, and the Emar ma'at that you say is not even to do a little. It's you say Emar ma'at, and then what do you enjoy? You just enjoy the kavod that you get from the little bit that you say. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, it gives him kavod. Now what happens? You don't even end up doing a little bit. And then you say again, you get more kavod, and you don't do anything. You say again, you get more kavod, you don't do anything. Before you know it, you just snowballed into an Ephraim. You snowballed into talking. Unfortunately, how many times do we see people? And we wonder from the outside, we look at these people and we say, do you not realize that you sound so foolish? Like sometimes from the outside, it's like so clear, like You sound like a fool. You keep on talking, and you're not doing anything. Like, hello, Ephraim, do you not realize? Because as he spoke, he got a little covered. Once you get the cover, you feel full. I don't have to do anything anymore. You spoke a little more, and then you snowball out of control. It says Ramosha Feinstein, it's a marma'at vaseir bey. A marma'at. Make a commitment. Do something. But then don't get stuck. Don't allow the little bit of cover, the little bit of this to get you. No, make sure to be a seyar bey. So we'll conclude, put it all together. Psiyat Ishmaya, whether it's in the world of chesed, as we started with, whether it's in the world of Torah, as we're ending with, I think the one thing that we could take out is make sure you do something. And I think if you do that, it really pulls it all together. Let me explain. If you go, we're talking about the chesed you're going to do for a person. Don't just talk. Do something. Something. I'm not the guy that's going to invite the collector in and sit him down and okay. At least go get a cup and fill it with water and hand it to him. Once you do something, you are breaking yourself internally that you're becoming someone that's going to do something. Now, you could say a little bit more and you'll do a little bit more. Now, in the world of Torah, I'm going to learn. So learn something. Something. I'm going to say Tillim. So say Tillim. I want to finish every Tillim every month. Okay. So how are you doing it? I don't know. I'm going to finish every month for Eretz Yisrael. It's beautiful. But did you say one kapitel? Do something. Say a little bit. You have to say, says Ramosha. This is not the time to be the biggest tzaddik in the world. All of a sudden we become the biggest tzaddikim. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to silently become the Gadol Hadar. I'm going to be the guy to sit and learn and say, tell him. And before I know it, boom, Ramelech Bierman is going to pop up. It's not going to happen. If you're a Ramelech, it's going to happen. If it's not, so Ramelech. Okay, if you're the one exception to the rule. Rav Yashiv, yes, he was able to sit all day and learn and no one knew about. But the rest of us who aren't that, what do we have to do? Yes, say a little bit, but always make sure to do something in the world of a chesed, in the world of a Torah, in the world of a tefillah, in the world of a tehillim, in the world of a tzedakah. I can't. So do something. And it sounds almost juvenile. And that's the reason why we don't do it. It's because we belittle ourselves and we trick ourselves into thinking, does it really make a difference? And I'll end with the one story you just said. Someone didn't even want to collect money. Didn't even say, I'll just post it once. And before I know it, he raised a few dollars. He just got the schos of whatever amount of money he raised. Because what? He did something. He took the step to be a doer. He did something. When we're doing the chesed, when we're doing the Torah, make sure, don't get lost in the world of kavod. Don't get lost in the world of thought. Don't get lost in the world of machshava, in the world of grand plans. That's all amazing. And we always talk about dreaming high and never settle. And yes, you're going to finish Shas, and you're going to finish Tillim, and you're going to be about Chesed, and you're going to be about Tzedakah. But make sure you start by doing something. Shkoyach.